so much soul, about to bust out the room. All different flavors, way more than 32. From these shoes, you can't mess with these dudes. Nike Reeboks, about soccer knees. Golden Gooses on dudes, it's crazy. Converse collab made like easy.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Soul Brother, hosted by yours truly, Flexx Luthor. And today, guys, we are blessed with a guest. What's up? What's new? And how you feeling, my guy?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, man.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, taking time out your day. As I always say, time is one of those things that we don't know what we have, but we still, decide to give it out. And so I'm always appreciative when someone gives me their time.
That's the only thing that's more valuable than the money is the time, because you can lose the money and get it back. You can't get the time back.
Hey, that's what it is for real. But before we get too deep into it, man, let the people know who you are.
Oh, how y'all doing, man? My name is Shake James. I own a couple sneaker stores in Milwaukee. One of them is Clicks. The other one is Sneaks, and I own a nonprofit called J Academy.
I like it, man. I've been watching what you're doing, man. You've been killing it, with the collaborations and what you're doing within your community. Man, you doing a lot of things, man. That's it's something to be proud of. So I enjoy watching that from from the outside.
Appreciate it.
So, but before we get started, what did you have on feet today?
I had on these new shoes I just dropped called What the Milwaukee. So it's some Adidas Form CLs.
I like it, man. We're gonna definitely get into that pair later on. I got a few questions on that. What I went with today, I went with the AE1s, lows.
Okay.
The A's had their moment here in the last few years. Great marketing around that shoe. And since I like to have my episodes themed, so like whenever I have someone on, I like to kind of work around their environment and what they be doing. So I definitely had to pull out a pair of Adidas.
I appreciate it. Okay.
I like it. But so this is your first time here, man. So let's start from the beginning. So like what got you into sneakers?
I just always loved sneakers, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really heavy into them like as far as like a collector. I just always like what I like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just kind of, figured out and navigated my way to it.
I like it. And when did sneakers become more than just a hobby or collecting?
Man, to be honest with you, bro, it don't even seem like it's either one of those. It's just like, like I like sneakers just based off what I like. I could go in the store, and catch me a GR pair, and it's just what I like. So I don't even look at it as like collecting or nothing like that. I just like what I like.
And I think that's what when someone like yourself, when they're just enjoying it for the love of it, that's when it makes it look effortless, man. When you see someone that's just for the love of it, it's easy. At least that's how it looks. I ain't gonna say it's easy, but that's the way it looks, Did you always see yourself, owning stores and kind of building within your community? Like, how did that come about?
Nah, so the store thing, I mean, man, being honest with you, both of them was kind of on accident. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it real with you, true story. So, the store thing kind of happened on accident, and then the community thing happened. It was like I said, man, it's both on accident. Like I didn't wake up and say like, "Yo, man, I want to open up a sneaker store." Like I will say this: I did always want a sneaker store, right? But I only wanted one so I could walk in there and just get whatever I wanted and walk right out. You know what I'm saying? Without paying for it. So I never looked at it as a business. I just thought it would be cool to, like, yo, get some new stuff in my store, walk in there and get me some fresh gear and walk out without having to pay, $600. So yeah, but both of them was on accident, man. It was no plan or nothing like that. It was just man, it was God. Like I said, he put me here, you know what I'm saying? And it was just it was no plan, man. I swear to God, it was both on accident. Both on accident, man. Both on accident.
So, in your personal opinion, what came first? What you were building within the community or your sneaker store?
It would be the community was first. You know what I'm saying? The community was first. I always wanted to give back, stuff like that. And so, man, in 2008, I hit Adidas up and I was like, yo, I want to do like a back to school drive. And then they was like, okay, Shake. And I was just like, damn, that was too easy. And then I was like, they said, what you need? I said, can I get like 50 pair of shoes? And they was like, yeah, what else you need? You want some backpacks? I was like, well, what else can I get? They said, you get backpacks, hats, socks. I was like, okay, I'll take all that. So they shipped it all to me, hats and everything, and it was super dope. And but I didn't think about like size runs, right? And so I had like a bunch of 9s, 10s, 11s, but it was people that wore 6s and 5s that actually came to the event. So, it was still a cool event, but you know how that go, like when you have 50 pair, 51 people show up, and then we have 100 pair, 101 people. So I always wanted to make sure that I had enough, for all the people. But yeah, that's what it started. It was community before the store.
And then, at what point did you see where I like, all right, this is where I want to make my own store and continue to build around the community?
Man, like I said, it wasn't really like a plan. It just kind of happened. Like one day, I went to the Adidas Christmas party, and this guy that I knew was like, "Yo, you should open up a store." And I was like, "What?" And like this was back, man. This is like 2012. You know what I'm saying? So phones wasn't as prevalent as they are now, right?
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of cards. Got his card, looked at his card, was like, "Oh shit, he the vice president of global." I'm like, man, so he up there now. He was a little dog, now he big dog. So I called him and I said, "Yo, how would the store thing work?" And he was like, "Well, you got to come out to Portland, and we got to figure it out." And then they was like, then it kind of happened fast. They was like, "Yo, we need pictures of the outside of the store, the street, this and that, the address." And then it just, man, like I said, it just happened fast, man. It happened real fast. And then the community part of it it just kind of like morphed into one thing, even though there's two separate things. It kind of morphed into one thing. So when I did the store, I didn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna do the store and I'm gonna tie it in the community." And when I started doing community, I didn't say, "I'm gonna do community first and then I'm gonna put a store." Like, so it just kind of like both happened like that. And then it just kind of morphed into one thing.
So at this point, how does it feel for this to, like you said, it happens fast, and then next thing you know, you're feeding your community, you're making a store. Like, how does that feel? Like, what is the pressure like?
Man, man, like in life, man, like sometimes, you get a job and it don't feel like work, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like my situation. It don't really feel like work. It just feel like, like if you're a ball player and all you do is play ball and then you make it to the NBA, it really ain't work because you've been balling your whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so for me, it don't really feel like work. It just feel like another day. You know what I'm saying? Like another day to, try to figure some stuff out, man. But it do feel like work when the bills come, though. When the bills come and I got to pay the bill, then it's work. Then it's work.
I like it. So what was some of your biggest challenges when you were doing these things, when you were, doing your work within your communities, having the shoe drive and as well as opening your store?
The bigger challenges, the bigger challenges was the store for sure, because, sometimes when people start businesses, and like people, like you got friends and stuff like that. For some reason, man, we don't support each other the way we should because we feel like if I support you, then you gonna have more than me. So I have the same thing that another store, a big box I have, and they'd rather go buy it from the big box than buy it from me. So it's all type of like challenges like that. And then as far as on the community side, to be honest with you, bro, like Adidas just been. That partnership that I have with them, man, just been so beautiful. They really been, man. Knock. I ain't got no wood around, but knock on wood, bro. They ain't never told me no. You know what I'm saying? They never told me no. No matter how crazy or what I'm saying, whatever it is, they never told me no. So man, it's been a true blessing, man. True blessing.
I like it. What is the sneaker scene like in Milwaukee?
Oh, it's a great sneaker scene. I think Milwaukee is a severely underrated city. You know what I'm saying? it's definitely a strong culture here. And that was kind of like the whole store thing, right? I felt
Yeah.
like, I've been around the world, man. You know what I'm saying? From working with DMX to Jay-Z, Lil Wayne. I've been with all R. Kelly, everybody, right? So I've been on, I was on these tours when, Cash Money was jumping out the big Air Force One and the long white tees, and you know what I'm saying? And I knew Wayne, I knew Drake when he was nobody, when Wayne used to introduce him, you know what I'm saying? So I've been around for a long time, man. So it's it's all just been like like an incredible whirlwind, man. Incredible whirlwind.
I like it. I'm be honest with you. You was like you've been around the world. Like I was not privy to your past life. So I actually want to get
Okay.
into that. Like how did you get around these people? How was you able to meet with these people and to go on tour?
Man, so a buddy of mine was trying to get a job at Def Jam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is back in the day. And so he kept calling another guy that I knew and kept saying, "Man, like put me on, like put me
Mm-hmm.
on, put me on." And so the other guy would never put him on, but the other guy was my friend. So then he
Mm-hmm.
called me. He's like, "Yo, Shake, man." He said, "Tell him to put me down, man." And I was like, "All right, bet." And I was like, "Man, call Jazz, man, so
Mm-hmm.
Terrell can get on tour." And so made the call. Terrell got on tour, and then he's like, "Yo, man, I'm on tour with Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? You should come out." And so I
Yeah.
came out and I started hanging around them dudes. And I used to rap back then too. So I was, hanging around and we rapping. And like I said, it was just cool. And then they was like, "Where you going?" I ain't going nowhere. They all right, but get on the bus. And then we go to another city. And then like I said, then Jay-Z them came with the Hard Knock Life thing, and then
Yeah.
DMX, and you know what I'm saying, the R. Kelly. It was everywhere. Usher, Chris Brown. I mean, the Chris Brown. This was when Destiny's Child was around.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And Chris Brown was like the opener for them. So yeah, man. So I mean, like I said, I've been around the world. It's been a crazy ride, man. Crazy ride.
Now, I mean, it sounds like you're from going on tour with Wayne and Cash Money and Jay-Z to, getting a store on accident. Yeah, nah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like a
man.
crazy ride, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, shout out to you. You learn something new every day. When you think about community, has that always been something that's been important to you?
Yeah, it's always been important to me, you know what I'm saying? But it's like keeping it real with you, man, like after the whole George Floyd thing happened, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And then I just was like, like that was the one time that like quote unquote white America couldn't say nothing. Like, usually they like, "Oh, well, he had a gun," or this was one time
Yeah.
they couldn't say nothing, right? And
Hmm.
so and then I saw, what I'm saying, I saw the way like it affected the world, man. And so I was like, man, like I gotta do more. You know what I'm saying? I gotta
Yeah.
do more. And so that's what really so I mean, I've been doing nonprofit work since 2008. I didn't have
Hmm.
my nonprofit set up until 2020. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just doing it. And then when I really turned it into a nonprofit, like I said, that whole George Floyd thing, I was like, man, we got to start figuring out a way, you know what I'm saying, to teach these kids something, man, you know what I'm saying, and show them some stuff. And so then I came up with the J Academy. And then I was like, okay, but because at first I was just doing like giving away backpacks and turkeys and
Hmm.
doing things like that, right? And then this guy was telling me, like, we was talking and he was like, "Oh, so you just give away stuff?" And I was like, "What?" And I thought the things that I was doing was super important. And he was just like, "Nah,
Yeah.
you just giving away stuff. Like you ain't really, you know what I'm saying?" And I was like, "What?" And so then he started telling me about programming, right? And I was like, "Programming?"
Hmm.
So he said, "Yeah, this and that." So I was like, "Man, I know how to do all that." You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "Well, why you ain't doing it?" So then we started. So I said, "Okay, I got you." So then I set up my nonprofit. Then I started doing a program we do called Phase for Grades, where every 3 weeks we give 75 kids free haircuts. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of grades, we tell them that it's
Yeah.
grade based, but it's really just to get them in a chair, get them talking
Yeah.
about any problems or issues they got going on in their life. Then we do a holiday event called Needs and Wants, where I go into the schools, talk to the kids, explain to them the difference between a need and a want. You know what I'm saying? They think a new pair of Jordans is a need, you know what I'm saying? And that's not, it's a want, right? And so,
Hmm.
And then we do like we have a design classes now that I do with one of my good friends, Alexander John, where we teaching the kids design, and not only teaching them design, we teaching them how to market, we teaching them strategy behind it, how to sell it, how you want to visual merchandise it and stuff like that. So yeah, so then like I said, once he said that, like I said, I was kind of offended when he said it, but he was kind of right. And so then I just wanted to start doing more, man. So I just I feel like I can make a bigger impact by teaching kids, these things. They don't know, like when they land these fresh outfits out to go to school, they don't know somebody get paid a lot of money from that. That's a stylist, right? People get paid a lot of money for that. So when they got these, they organize their closets based off the color of their shoes, like people get paid for all these things, you know what I'm saying? So we, as African Americans and Hispanics, we are the number one consumers of fashion, but we own zero. You know what I'm saying? So if I was like right now, if I was 15, 14, whatever, I would start my own brand. You know what I'm saying? Because like with the internet and the way things go now, you don't need to be in the big cities. You don't need to be in LA, New York, stuff like that to make it no more. You could do it from anywhere.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. As you speak about the George Floyd situation, a lot of people don't talk about, like, being African American within United States. So when you see something, see an injustice like that, you get this like a call to action feeling. When you see something like that, it's always like, man, I got to do something, and that's really how it feels. It's like you have to, even currently, you still see stuff that's going on within society. You see all these things, these unfair things that are happening. It's like I got to do something. I have to apply myself and do something to where, because you almost feel at fault, and it's not your fault, but you feel at fault. It's like, dog, like I gotta do something. Some way I have to better myself, to better my society, and uplift African American within the space. And I feel like that's what you do. Shout out to you, all the stuff that you do with the youth, because those are my childhood. I really didn't have any guidance. I literally, as I was learning out, I was going, and I grew up in a single parent home. And my mom, she never downed my dad or anything like that. She was always open about, like, hey, if you want to go see him, you can, whatever the case is. Um, so I never really grew up with any type of like hate towards them or anything like that. But as I got older, and let's say I got to a point where I'm using a power drill, those were the days I was upset, because it's like, if I had that father figure around, I would know how to do this. So I had to learn by trial and error. Credit score, trial and error. How to manage money, trial and error. Hustle, trial and error. I didn't have, that guidance of like, hey, this is a want, this is a need. Like, okay, I know you want these pair of J's, but you need a job to get that want. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get this job and I'm gonna give me a pair of J's. I'm gonna get this job and I'm gonna spend my whole check. So for years I was spending my whole check on clothes, you know what I'm saying? And wasn't thinking about, like, once I graduate high school, what's next? Because there's a lot of things that we learn within high school that we never really use. And then you get out here and it's like, all right, well, this is what you need for a mortgage. This is what you need for when you're making a down payment on a house. This is what you need for a car. Like all this stuff that you like, wait, well, what is this? I didn't know I need this. I didn't know I needed that. I didn't know this was happening. So like those are the things that I really feel like should be put within the communities, especially with the youth, man. We can only get better by uplifting the youth, and hopefully they do the same. As they grow into the community, they'll uplift the youth, and that's how you eliminate that generational curses. And I feel like we fall victim to every single time. So now with my kids, I'm already planning their life out, not to where they're not making their own choices, but where they have those opportunities. Like, all right,
correct,
what you do with this money is your choice, but I'm gonna give you that opportunity. So I'm definitely gonna give them that game. Like, all right, glad you passing geometry and pre-cal and all that, but this is what you need for your down payment on your house. First time buyer, grants, stuff like that. That's the things that I want to show my children, because those are the things that's pivotal. But yeah. So I really want to get into, or really want to touch on your nonprofit. But before we get there, I want to talk about your Adidas collaborations. What is it like seeing those ideas come to life?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful because like they're very like I'm very risque, right? I want to try to do something
Mm-hmm.
that we never really seen, or try to put a color somewhere, and I'm always trying to do different things, and they always so receptive, to trying new things with me. So that's what really makes it work. When you doing some of these. I mean, I've heard stories of different people doing collabs, and where the brands just really like giving them, here's the shoe, this is the story, this is the launch date, this how many pairs you get. But this one is completely different, where they just really, trying to do new things, letting me create and stuff like that. So it's beautiful, man. Beautiful.
If you can, I know it's gonna be hard, but what has been your favorite project so far?
It's funny. The last one. The last one is always my favorite until the next one.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it.
That's the
So
last
as we
one.
talk about the last one, what was your favorite part with the collaboration you just dropped?
It was that Adidas let me put the holes into the stripes to simulate cheese. Like, I thought they weren't gonna go for it, because like brands is very
Yeah, yeah.
protective over their marks.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to let me do that, I was like, oh my God, like they approved it. So I couldn't believe that. But that was one of my that's my favorite part of the shoe. Yeah.
So beyond the shoe, like what is it? So what does it represent? What's the interpretation of that shoe?
So what it was what it is it's a mashup of all the shoes that I've done for 414 Day and with Adidas
Mm-hmm.
over the last, what is this, 26, like 4 years, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what it is. And then I wanted to tell the story. So originally it was supposed to be a pack, and it was supposed to be the Samba, which was before that shoe. It was called the Viewfinder, and the
Mm-hmm.
Samba has the neighborhoods, all the neighborhoods in Milwaukee on it. And so that was supposed to, like I said, bring, because everything it starts and ends with community. So that was kind of like to
Mm-hmm.
bring people together and have representation for everybody. But then, because of the complexity of the shoes, they wasn't making it on time. So then I just dropped the Samba first, and then I dropped the shoe after. So the Samba was the map to get you to Milwaukee, and then the shoe was the cultural map of things to do while you in Milwaukee.
I like it. I like it, man. How does it feel to put on for your city and have a shoe, a 414 Day shoe releasing, especially for as you say, like a place like Milwaukee that's underrated.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, man, like prior to these last couple launches, I was doing more. I would sell more stuff out of state, right? When I was doing, other launches, because people was buying the shoes. Like, these people from Milwaukee, that I know some people that just moved where you live at, that's from
Mhm.
Milwaukee, right? And so I was selling more stuff out of state. But these last two releases, man, have been like incredible. Like, just to get the respect and the love from the city like that, man. I mean, we had a line, almost a mile and a half long, man. It was crazy. People stood in line 7 hours, for those shoes. So I truly appreciate it, man. Like, it was old people, young people, black, white, Indian,
Mhm.
Asian, like, it was all different walks of life in those lines, man, for those shoes. And so this lady had told me this one thing, and I never forget it. She said that she was a white lady, and she was like, which one is Shake? And my friend pointed, like, that's him right there. So I
Mhm.
went over there, and she said that she wanted to thank me for doing that. She said because she felt like the city needed it, because Milwaukee is probably the most, or top two most segregated city in the United States of America. And so
Mhm.
she said she stood next to a black lady,
Mhm.
for 3 hours, right, in line. And they was
Mhm.
talking about grandkids and life and work. And now her and that lady are friends. And now they said they're gonna go to lunch. And so they created that relationship. And she said they would have never met each other had it not been for the shoe release. So she just wanted to thank me for doing that.
I like it. I like it, man. So how do you stay grounded, man? Like, cause you talk about, like I said, you talk about going on tour with Cash Money, meeting Jay-Z, and now you're in this point of life where you're bringing the community together with your own shoe, you putting on for your city. So, like, how do you not get complacent and be like, oh, that was enough? You know, I've done enough. How do you continue, you know, topping the last thing?
I don't look at it as a topping thing. I just look at it as like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm supposed to do. You know, so I just want to keep, you know, like I'm doing a bike event on Saturday. We giving away 500 bikes and helmets and bounce house and food and stuff like that to kids in the neighborhood. I mean, this is year 5. We up to 500 bikes now. My back to school thing is year 10. We up to 1,003 pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do you know, honoring Black excellence for Black History Month, where I identify 5 people in the community in Milwaukee that's doing good work. Like, it don't matter if you got 100,000 followers or 1 follower, but if you're doing good work, you know what I'm saying. And then we having like a private dinner. We give everybody an award. I donate $2,000 to everybody's nonprofit to help them out with whatever type of work, you know, they're doing. We do a Mother's Day brunch where we let the kids write letters to us and say, hey, my mother deserved a Mother's Day brunch because of X. And then we pick the families and treat them to a nice, you know, Mother's Day brunch. Like I said, then we do the bike event, which it was culminated with Juneteenth, but because of the weather release, I had to push it back a week. But it's really about wellness, getting the kids off the phones, getting them outside, getting them, you know, to enjoy the summer. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, childhood obesity is real. You know what I'm saying? And then we do so then after that, it's back to school. We're gonna do 1,004 pair of shoes, backpacks, school supplies, haircuts, all that. And then after that, we do the hot meals for the homeless around Thanksgiving. So we do that, give away what we did last year. We probably did 2,000 meals. So we're probably going to do another 2,000 meals. And then, like I said, then we do the needs and wants. It used to be called Adopt a Family for holiday, but now we just call it needs and wants, where I identify like 2 elementary schools. I go in there, explain to them the difference between a need and want, and then I get them to write their Christmas list. One side to say need, one side to say want. They don't know this, but then I buy everything on the list, regardless if it's a need or if it's a want for them. You know what I'm saying? So, and then in between that, like I said, we do the design classes at J Academy. We do the phase for grades. We do the literacy classes, the first-time homebuyer classes, and the felony pardon classes. So we do a lot, man. We do a lot.
Yeah, you're productive throughout the whole entire year. And
Yeah.
man, like, again, man, shout out to you. When you speak of like giving out the backpacks and the shoes and the haircuts, um, is that on purpose? Like, do you feel, because I within, you know, Black culture, I feel like vanity, you know, looking fresh, getting fly is important to us. You know, it's an expression, it's a way to express ourselves. Did you do that on, like, are you trying to communicate, create that? Is that like a gateway for you to speak to the youth, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, like if you look good, you feel good, right? So that's
Yeah.
why I want to have a fresh haircut, the fresh braids, to get their nails done, whatever they need to get them, you know, on a good start. Because a teacher told me, man, do you know the most important day of school is the first day? Because
For
that
sure.
sets the tone for the rest of the year. She said, so like if a kid come to school on the first day and get bullied, she said they less likely to engage, you know, like, you know, want to be sick all the time, stay home. So she said the most important day, she said it's a national study about it too, but she said the most important day of school is the first day. So, you know, like, so then you ain't got to worry about a kid getting bullied because, you know, we got on some fresh shoes. They, you know, they wear the uniform, got on some nice shoes, haircut, got all their backpacks, got their school supplies, they ready. You know what I'm saying? So now all they got to do is apply themselves.
I was speaking to Jay's Friday, better known as Jay's Friday on Instagram, and I was telling them how important it is to you know, just kids in general, when you getting those free pairs or you getting those shoes washed, it does change their experience. I like to say shoes didn't matter till they mattered. I remember being in school and like I didn't always have like a super obsession with shoes. I mean, I like them. I like, you know, I like cool stuff, whatever. But it wasn't until I got into school and someone said something about my shoes, and I was like, oh. these not it. Okay, cool, you know. And then, you know, I started like really getting into sneakers, and I started looking at like what people are wearing and learning at what this is and learning what that is. So when you know, have people like yourself that's providing these fresh pair of kicks, you know, providing that haircut. I mean, as you say, you know, you if you look good, you feel good. And I definitely agree with the first day of school. I had, I believe it was my freshman year. I missed the first day of school in high school, and those 4 years of high school was rough for me, and it wasn't really about bullying or anything. It was more of just kind of no guidance and trying to prove myself. And I actually missed the first day of school because I had got into a fight over the summer, literally like 2 weeks or maybe a week before. And like it was bad, and I was still recovering. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going. I can't go to school on the first day looking like this." So I had to wait a little bit, and I had to get extra fly to make up, you know, because somebody's gonna ask me about it. Because you know, you people heard about it, so you know, I had to get
Yeah.
extra fly. And like, at least when I'm telling this story, I'm looking fly, you know. So, but that was the beginning of like a rough 4 years, and then I kind of found myself later on, like my senior year, and kind of just growing into myself and maturing, and you know, really understanding what I wanted out of life.
Got you. Dig that.
So let's talk about your, you know, your nonprofit Jay's Academy. Like, how did that come about?
So I started J Academy, you know, because I wanted the principles to be justice, arts, and youth. And so then my son name is Jason, you know, even though his
Mm-hmm.
name is Jai, but then I was like, okay, Jason, okay, I got it. So then that's when I came up with J Academy. And like I said, I just because I was doing it, you know, kind of like with Adidas and then my
Mm-hmm.
own money. So then people was like, oh, you can get donations because like, you know, like the number
Mm-hmm.
one thing that hold nonprofits back is because the organizations or companies that want to fund you, you know, they gotta like vet you, right, and be like, I don't know, man, I don't know if I give him this 5,000 if he gonna really do what he say. But you know what I'm saying? I've been doing it for so long, that was the
Yeah.
only piece that I was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then
And
that's when I ended up starting J Academy.
what's been your most memorable thing with since you started your nonprofit?
Man, having kids come up to me that remember when I did the first one in 2008, and now they
Mm-hmm.
grown. Like, this one kid messaged me, man, and he said that I probably don't remember him, but he said he came to my very first back to school thing. I gave him a haircut, all the stuff. He went to school. He said he wasn't really getting into school because he was getting bullied. So he didn't really even want to go to school. But then when I
Yeah.
gave him a haircut, the backpack, school supplies, he said now he's a master electrician and he lived in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow, that's crazy. So that one thing that I did in 2008 changed
Mm-hmm.
the whole course of his life. So though I like those type of moments when kids running up to me saying those type of things. I'm like, that's dope.
Does that add a, you know, a little extra fuel to the fire when you continue to hear those stories? Like, does that keep you going and wanting to create more?
Yeah, it would make me want to do more. Yeah, it definitely makes me want to do more. I feel like you know, like I got a couple other things up my sleeve, but I just feel like, man, you know, like these kids, man, like they can be saved, bro. They can be helped,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like some of them, they all different, right? Some of
Yeah.
them just need you to point them in a direction. Some of them need you to put your arm around them and hold them for a minute. Then some of them need that constant talking to, that big brother talk, like they need it every
Yeah.
day. You know what I'm saying, to keep them on it. So it's all different. They're all different, but I just feel like I never got into a situation like I go to, you know, the juvenile prisons. I only do kids, by the way, but so I go to the juvenile prisons, juvenile detention homes, you know what I'm saying, the worst high schools. I go to those are places that I want to be because that's where the need is the greatest, right? And so I go to those places and they like, I don't know, these kids is this and that. And I'm like, man, anybody can be helped. You know what I'm saying? Anybody
Yeah.
can be helped. They got that built up aggression and they just need to
Mm-hmm.
channel it somewhere else. I had some kids, man, 3 weeks ago, man, and they was like, you know, armed robbery, you know, sexual assault, all type of crazy crimes. And I'm in there teaching them about fashion and teach them, you know how sometimes you come in there, you too cool. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I got the cool kid, he designing shoes and he talking to me about fashion. And then we showing him, we pulling out the iPhones and showing him how the iPhone, how you switch it to 4K and shoot movies on the phone. He like, on the phone? So I'm like, man, so you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it was dope, man. And so I like those type of moments too.
Like I said, man, I appreciate it. Just like I said, just being young within the black community, just in society in general, and not having that guidance, I feel like you already dealt a bad hand. And so anything else is just an add on to whatever you got going on. So if you're not confident within yourself, if you're not doing well in school, or you don't really have anyone with that guidance that's leading you, holding you, or walking you through, just the everyday situations, then it's not going to end well most of the time. So again, I'm appreciative of like what you're doing within the community. And I know you say you speak that you only work with children, but like I feel like in the end that just it feeds into the adulthood. So like you had that
Correct.
person that reached out to you
Correct.
that you met 2008, but now he is an adult. And I always say, like, your childhood is one of those things where, yes, it's one of those carefree things, and you play and have fun. But our childhood is also what molds us into the adulthood. There's some things that we take from that childhood, so implementing those things and installing those into the youth now is important.
1000%, man. And that's why, like every shoe that I've done, always have a positive message in the kids, right? I
Mm-hmm.
never want to do a shoe just to do a shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like my first shoe was called Day One, and it was about teaching. And oh, let me tell you this. So every shoe that I drop, I select a school and I go to that school and I seed the school the shoes before they even go on sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but all of my shoes had positive messaging. So the first one was Day One, and it was about choosing your day one wisely, right? Your day one is the one to tell you to do the right thing and not the wrong thing. Your day one is the one to tell you to stay in school and not skip school. So everything, all of them, you know what I'm saying? From there to Twilight, like just reinforcing kids that you can't be afraid to shoot your shot, whether you need help with a test, whether you stutter when you speak, you need help
Mm-hmm.
reading, you know what I'm saying? You got to be afraid. You can't be afraid to, shoot your shot, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to raise your hand and ask for help. So like, that's just it with me, man. Like I'm never going, like make a shoe just to make a shoe and then sell it and then just walk away. Like when you buy a shoe from me, you buy a
Mm-hmm.
shirt from me, a hat, socks, you know what I'm saying? Just know your money being reinvested in the community. It might not be in the community in Seattle or wherever you from, but it's helping people. It ain't just like we're not going to Cancun over here, you know what I'm saying? We reinvesting in the community.
I like it, man. That's what I like to hear. What is something that that you're doing now, or just in general, that you wish you had been taught, or that you had an opportunity when you were young?
Um, Man, I don't know. That's a good question. Um, maybe maybe to do things a little earlier, maybe start nonprofit work in 2000 instead of 2008, maybe. But I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you kind of got to go through steps to get through things. So maybe it happened. Like I said, maybe it happened the way it was supposed to happen. But I would have liked to have did that earlier. Maybe owned the store earlier. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe dropped the collab earlier, stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, I guess it all happened the way it's supposed to happen.
For sure. I mean, you've done a lot of things with your nonprofit, but are there any personal goals or milestones that you've hit, or that or that you're looking forward to hitting?
Nah, cause I don't really look at it like that. I just, you know what I'm saying? I just do the work, man. You know what I'm saying? I just do the
Mm-hmm.
work. Like my friends say like similar things to that. They like, man, one day you need to just sit back and take it all in. And I'm like, I don't know if that day gonna ever come because I just kind of like live in the moment. You know what I'm saying? And kind
Mm-hmm.
of like deal with it, deal with things just like right in front of me. But I mean, man, it's been tremendous. Thus far, I got a lot more. Like I said, I got a lot more things to do, a lot more things I want to get done. But yeah, but so far, man, it's been unbelievable.
I like it. And I mean, I feel like you not taking a step back and looking at it may be what helps you prevent you from being complacent. I feel like if you kind of look back and you look at all the things you've done, it's kind of like, wow, I've done a lot. But if you just keep looking forward, you just feel like you're just trying to I'm still trying to catch up. I'm still trying to. I just still
Yeah,
work to be done. You know, I feel like if you look
yeah,
back, you kind of like, oh, there's a lot of work that's been done. But if you just keep looking
yeah,
forward, you like you don't know what's behind you. You're just like, there's
yeah,
more work. I need to do more work. There's more that
yeah,
can be done. There's more that can be changed. So yeah.
yeah. And see, like when I was doing the work, right, I would
Hmm.
be I would be off to the side, right? I would never let nobody know it was me. You know what I'm saying? I would be doing whatever, 100 bikes, 200 bikes, 1,000 backpacks, whatever it was. I used to just be off to the side. And so like my all-time favorite superhero is Batman, right? And it's because Batman is the only hero that don't got no powers. Like his powers is his brain. Like he
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
fly, he ain't strong, he can't run fast, but all his powers is his brain. So he was
Yeah.
always my favorite. And so my friend knew that, and my friend said, "Man, you need to be less Batman and more Bruce Wayne. Like these kids need to know like who this coming from and who doing this." You know what I'm saying? Because we had an event, and this lady came there with her grandkids, and she was like, "What church y'all with?" And my friend was
Hmm.
like, "We ain't with no church." And then she was like, "Well, who doing this? The Brewers?" And that's the baseball team out here. You're like,
Yeah.
"Nah." The Bucks? She said, "Giannis doing this?" And then my friend was like, "No." She said, "Well, then who doing this?" And then
Hmm.
she pointed to me. She said, "Him." And then she said, the lady said this. She said, "A black man?" She said, "A black man love his community that this much?" And my friend said, "Yeah." And then from that point on, I was like, "Damn." I said, "You're right. They do got to know." And that's when I kind of stepped out from the shadows and people started connecting the name with the face and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, man. I like, yeah, it's definitely pivotal to show your face and show who's behind it. Growing up in the black community, I feel like we're a product of our environment, and we all got stories of sharing a bed, sharing a floor, sharing a pair of shoes, sharing a pair of jeans. And I feel like once we get older, it's like dang, you still want me to share? And I feel like that's where that the crab in a bucket mentality comes from, because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm up here, I'm doing this, but you want me to go back down there and share once again. I shared my whole life. Um, so like I think sometimes people need that example, like, all right, you can still do your thing, but you also, give back to your community. You can still help them get to where you're at without it feeling like you're just like taken away from yourself. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was J. Cole. It was like how you balance being Batman, Bruce Wayne. And it's always the play on words, and I've always had a love for Batman too. And when I heard Cole say that, I was like, yeah, how you balance being Batman, Bruce Wayne. But as we get to the end of the episode, I like to talk about legacy. So when it's all said and done, and you finally do take that time to sit down and look back at what the work you've done, what do you want your legacy to be, and what do you want your name to represent?
I want people to know that I really cared, and I tried my best, to really make a difference and make a real impact. You know what I'm saying? And that I tried to build community. Because like I said, it just started and ends with community for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's community is so important, and I think like
Hmm. Hmm.
um, nowadays people throw that word around, like it's like a little buzzword, and they really
Yeah,
don't mean it. But community is
sure.
really important, man. It's really about us helping and uplifting each other and trying to build with each other.
As you said, the community has definitely become a buzzword. A lot of people know, like, oh, that's gonna give me clicks. That's gonna give me like, oh, what are they doing?
Yep.
They
Yep.
get a collaboration, and the first thing they yell is community. This is for the community, and it's a story about them. It's or something that they like, and you're just like, well, how does that tie into community? Shout out to you. You're doing what you're doing, man. Uh, is there if you can share, is there what's next? What's next for the brand and you just as an individual?
I got a couple more tricks up my sleeve on a collaboration side later this year.
Okay.
A couple things, gonna really try to highlight community on this next one, and not only just highlight it, but actually really get the community involved in it. Then I got something else I'm cooking for the end of this year, and so right now I'm working on 2027, working on fall winter 2027. I just got an opportunity to get a Walmart. The city just gave me a Walmart out here, So we about to try to get this funding going and get some basketball courts and boxing rings and design centers and stuff like that, tutoring centers and some light medical
Hmm.
clinic in there. So that's what I'm working on right now. So that right there, that would be my legacy right there, because I want that to live forever.
I love it, man. There's two things that lead you to crime, man: poverty and being bored. So, getting those basketball courts, getting those rings out there, like I said, there's a lot of people that just, fall into crime and, just the wrong things because they're bored. They're trying to find something to do. They're trying to find someone to hang around. And then unfortunately sometimes those people that they hang around is the wrong crew.
Correct.
But what showcase should you have for us today?
These boys.
I like it. I like it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So these right here kind of, like I said, represented a mashup of all the shoots I've done with Adidas, playing back to the patent leather. Let me see this one. And see, this the one I was talking about with when Adidas let me put the hole in the cheese, stuff like that. So like my first 414 day shoe, we had the OG Bucks colorway, so I brought that back. We put the blue water right here. Another thing that's known in Milwaukee, we put the gold in there for the Golden Eagles and the Brewers. And then we off Lake Michigan, so I put the water waves over there because that was on one of my shoes too. I put the patent leather because that was on, one of my shoes. We got like a incredible zoo out here, so we put the animal print on there. So yeah, man. So these was the ones right here, man. These are the ones.
I like it, man.
The first ever what the shoe from Adidas. Yeah, first
I like
ever.
it, man. I like it. How do you stay patient? I mean, you're talking about 2027 fall. Like how do you? Because now I feel like we're in a day and age where leaks are just it's like a currency. Like if I can get this leak or like, oh well, this is dropping 2027. How do you, one, keep the stuff from getting out, and two, not putting it out yourself because you kind of want to build a hype around your product and what you're doing?
Well, it's easy to not put it out from the Adidas side because they very protective of their work, so I'm not worried about that side of it, but it would be more so me, like one man, I should just, what I'm saying. But I think like the one thing I've learned in life is that you only get one chance to go first, right? And so when you displaying that shoe, that hat, that jacket, your podcast, like, you that first date with that girl, you only get one first date, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you all want that to be displayed? And so I'm very protective of my work in the way that it's viewed and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that when I show it to the world, it's shown in the way that I want it shown.
I like it, man. I like it. Has there ever been a time where you've done all these things in the community and you have these messages and this positive message behind your shoe? Has there ever been a time where like I ain't gonna say your message was taken the wrong way, but not delivered like you wanted it to be?
Nah, because I'm very intentional with the storytelling, so I really, like even like I said, like day one, right? So on the box, so me and my day one, we used to do a lot of crossword puzzles, right? And so the box on that shoe was a crossword puzzle of all my day ones on the box, right? And then like this symbol that's on my shirt, this on my hoodie is like on the box too, and this mean unity. So this is like two people that's about to shake hands, and talk about their love of Adidas, right? So we about to shake hands and say, oh man, I like those Spezials, and man, remember those Sambas I got when we was in 8th grade? So you know what I'm saying? So it's all about that, man. So like I said, I'm just very intentional with the storytelling, even for the what the shoes. We did a lot of community. Like I don't like using actors. I know like a lot of, I got a lot of celebrity friends and stuff like that. I like, they buy product, I see them product, but I really don't have them in the campaigns other than when I did the day one, I rolled it out, and then 2 days later, Usher put the shoes on, and then he sent me the picture, and then I had to post that, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, You know what I'm saying? I can't afford them. This is a non-paid ad. I said, but man, I appreciated it. But yeah, so I'm just very intentional about the storytelling and to make sure that the message hits the way it's supposed to.
I like it, man. I feel like in a time where we're in sneakers, like the storytelling and being intentional is one of those important things. And it's also starting to seem like it's something that's getting lost in translation because people are so in a rush to kind of get that out, trying to, all right, well, let me get this shoe out, let me put this together, and they kind of forget the storytelling. I just seen someone that just had a collaboration and they slid a couple pairs out and there was a video done and they're missing some of the details, some of the important things or like that message. And I feel like that's one of those things where you're trying to get that product out and your story's not being told correctly. So moving intentionally and making sure that story get told, that's something important, especially with the work that you're doing and continuing to doing. Intentional is definitely the way to move.
Yeah, this is the only way for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I just want to make sure that, people understand and, like even the shoes, I got a card that comes inside the box and it maps out what each detail on the shoe means and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything. So it's like you're not going to buy the shoe and be like, I wonder why you put this right there because the card is in there and it tells you everything and what it meant and why I put it there and everything.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've noticed about your collaborations. Are always, have those details. I remember seeing the trading card, I believe, with the cranberry pair, with the trading card. So it's just small things like that. That's what really, brings you into the story. Like if you haven't heard the story, you kind of like, oh, I wanna know more about this. Let me dig in and see what's going on here. And I've noticed that you do a lot of that with your shoes. So
Yeah,
you're killing it, man. You're killing it.
I appreciate it, bro. I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Yeah, for sure. You're doing a good job at it. on accident at that.
There you go. That part.
But before we close it out, is there any closing remarks that you have for the people out there, audience, listeners that are watching and tuning in?
Nah, man. Just make sure y'all don't forget about community. Community matters, man. And I just I'm thankful that for you for having me, man. Like I said,
Sure.
bro. Man, for me, I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you got 1 follower, 2 followers, 10 million, 1,000. It's whatever, man. We all people. We all put our shoes on one shoe at a time, pants on one leg at a time. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody too good to not talk to somebody or something like that. So yeah, it's like I said, community matters, bro.
I like it, man. Again, man, I appreciate you, taking time out your day. I mean, you spoken on here, man, just how productive you are. I don't really like using the word busy. I feel like it's a negative word, so I always say productive. And you've spoke about how productive you are, so I know, taking time out your day, hopping on here. I truly appreciate talking sneakers and talking community and much more. But guys, that's where we're gonna end it. As I always say, love, peace, and sneakers.
Retro 7s, retro 3s, metallic silver, retro 11, sitting on freeze. They got so